Hello everyone and welcome to another casual review. Today I'm talking about 1971 Project Helios. And odds are you've probably never heard of this game before. Neither have I before I found this game for pretty cheap from GameStop. So let's just get straight into the story. The story is kind of more you have to piece it together. It just plops you straight in this almost like this frozen wasteland. I'm not even sure if it technically takes place in 1971. There are some magical abilities, kind of, so I'm not really even sure if this takes place in our universe. They talk about certain landmarks that I don't recognize that are on Earth. But think kind of like a Siberian kind of area, just blizzards all over the place. It seems like it is like a post-apocalyptic world. I think this story really could have benefited from just like this little intro, like a little cutscene, or maybe like this little Star Wars intro with text rising up and it just kind of tells you the scene and the world you're in. But it's really the type of game that you have to pick up documents throughout the way, like torn up receipts or officers' orders, things like that, where you just kind of like piece together what the world is like through the dialogue between the characters. I don't know, maybe I'm just dumb, but I didn't really ever get invested into it, so I didn't really care to read all these documents that you pick up throughout the world. This is how I understand how the story is, what the story is. I think it takes place, or it at least gets inspiration from Germany, because they use certain German or maybe like Danish words during the dialogue. There is no voice acting, it is all just text from characters. But the very first level takes place with these two characters. I think they are mercenaries and they have a bounty on someone. So they make their way up and they find this person in a freight car, and they find out it belongs to like this big mob boss type of guy. So then they start running away, even though they killed all the guards to this freight car. So they ran away. They didn't want to get messed up with this big mob boss type guy, but he finds out anyway, and he takes our main character's family hostage, and he says, unless you go get this other person, then I'm gonna kill your family. We're gonna send this guy with you. So now it goes to the other group of guys, and they are also looking for this woman. Turns out she's like this scientist who's in charge of this Project Helios, and apparently she's like the salvation to this world. This whole Project Helios is so important, and like she's the only one who can do it. I'm not even quite sure what Project Helios is, but apparently it's really good. It's gonna save all of humanity. So they're off to get them, and these two groups group up together to help get this girl, and like what comes after will come after. So that's kind of how I understand the story goes. There are also these like telepathic beings. They can kind of sense the future. Think kind of like Doctor Strange. They can see all these branching paths and the percentage that these alternative futures will happen. That's just kind of like, I could be totally off base here, but that's what I gathered through this game. There really isn't too much of a story here. After you beat a level, you all like regroup at a campfire, and you can watch certain dialogue, certain interactions between characters happen, and that can also help you piece together what this world is like. The combat is similar to, I've never played this, but XCOM, but I have played Mario and Rabbids. It's an even simpler form of Mario and Rabbids, where it's like this turn-based tactical grid where you have weapons, but there are certain melee characters, and they have a couple different abilities. You can use 4 different abilities. They even have the whole cover thing that was in Mario and Rabbids, where you have the full cover, so you are immune to damage from that certain direction, and then you have the half cover, where the enemies have a 50% chance of missing. There is a skill tree, but it is very simplistic. There are only like 3 different tiers and only 2 or 3 options in each tier for each character, and how you unlock these tiers is you uncover items by exploring the level. So basically you are moving around freeform around this level, and then you enter in these grid-based combat scenes, basically. And then when you defeat them, then you can explore again. As you're discovering the landscape around you, you can also uncover this resource, and 5 of these resources will revive your character, kind of like a phoenix down or something. Or you can use, I think, 3 of these resources to reduce the cooldown of one of your abilities. I mostly just use this to revive my character if they are downed. If you don't have any of this resource and all of your characters die, it just restarts the combat. So that's nice that you don't have to restart the whole level, because I encountered a couple of tough combat areas that were pretty frustrating. If I would have to replay through the whole level, I'm not sure if I would finish this game. The enemies aren't that smart. Most often they will just attack the nearest enemy to them. So this was helpful to have maybe like, I think there was 2 tank enemies that only use melee weapons. They don't use guns. And so most of the time the enemies would just attack these 2 tanky guys while I have my grenade person or my gun person off in the back just firing away. It does let you choose up to 4 characters going into a map. So most of the time I was able to choose, I have my 2 melee characters and at least my grenade guy. The animations take a long time during combat, frustratingly so, where if you choose like, okay, I want you to shoot this guy, you have to go through like this whole 10-second animation of him like taking aim and firing. Oftentimes I would select a character to do something and the game itself would have to like think about it, like, oh, okay, you want me to do what now? And then the character would initiate the animation. Moving to a different tile was way weird. Like, my characters would zigzag back and forth, like they weren't sure what smart pathway to take. It was just very clunky visually, and it just took a long time combat wise, just trying to get my characters to do what I want them to do. There was no map in this game, which was pretty frustrating for certain levels where it would have you just wander around in circles. There's one that's fresh in my mind where you have to turn off the 3 satellites of the bad guys. So you're kind of like walking through this little camp, this like military camp area, and it was just all the areas looked the same, and I just got completely lost. To get to one satellite, you even needed to find a key, which wasn't highlighted at all. I ended up just resorting to wandering around rooms that I've already explored, just tapping that A button to grab that key. And this game is so under the radar, I couldn't even find a guide online to tell me where this key is. So that was pretty frustrating. The camera only works from 4 different angles, so this could be frustrating in tight quarters where the walls would just get in the way. And so when you do try to rotate the map, it's only like at 90-degree increments. It's not like a free form camera. I couldn't zoom in or anything like that, so it was pretty difficult to see how much life would be taken away if I did damage to an enemy. It kind of like hovers like this translucent effect to the enemy health bar, like showing how much damage you will do. But in handheld mode, you had no idea. Oftentimes, you just had to guess how much damage was going to happen. The music is pretty generic and repetitive. Even sometimes, it just didn't fit the tone of the game at all. Like, I'm navigating through this frozen wasteland, and it's playing this techno music, I guess to get me pumped up. But this is definitely what I would consider a podcast or a TV show game where I'm only really half paying attention. One, because the animations took so long, and another is that the music didn't do anything for me. No voice acting, nothing like that. So it was just unnecessary to have the volume up. I did have several hard crashes as well. I want to say probably like 5 or 6 times it would just straight up this game has stopped running. And so when I do reboot it, they are pretty generous with their checkpoints, however. I want to say, like, every time I grabbed an item, every time I finished a combat area, it would save the game for me so I could just hop back in. Really, though, a good 3/4 of the whole reason that I have this channel is it kind of incentivizes me to finish these types of games. If I didn't have a YouTube channel and I wasn't going to make a video about it, I would have dropped it off a long time ago. But it kind of feels like I'm not wasting time because it's like, hey, I gotta finish this game. It's for a video. So I did finish the whole thing. It is pretty difficult to recommend this game, even if you are a big tactics fan, such as like Fire Emblem, Mario and Rabbids. If you're a really, really big fan, I would look into this game. If you have nothing else to play, Otherwise, if you are just dipping your toe into this genre, I don't think I can recommend this. Is it worth the $5 that I paid for it? Yeah, sure, like I didn't mind. It even ran a little bit longer than I would have liked, but probably just because I wasn't having a great time playing this game. I think I will give this game a 1 out of 5. Well guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about 1971 Project Helios, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'll talk to you later. Bye!